Now it's time to have a very important conversation right here on Breakfast Daily. We'll be talking about cleft palate. Once every while, a child is born with this condition, and then it really affects their ability to eat, speak, and sometimes even breathe properly. But trust me, with good medical access and intervention, these conditions can be treatable, and then they would have a better life, or they would have a normal life like every other child. Joining me in the studio to do this conversation this morning, I have Felicia Babanao, who is a programs manager, Operation Smile Ghana, as well as Beauty Anan, who is a pediatric anesthesiologist and volunteer at Operation Smile Ghana. Ladies, good morning and thank you for joining me.
Good morning. Good
morning. How are you doing, by the way?
We're great. We're great.
Good. Let me start off with you, Felicia, if you would allow me. I would like to ask you, talk to us briefly. What is Operation Smile Ghana?
Okay. So I'll first of all begin with Operation Smile. So Operation Smile is a global charitable medical organization that ride on the benevolence of volunteers to provide free cleft care to children who are born with cleft lip and then palate. So the organization started operations in 1982, and we are in over 60 countries, and what the organization basically do is to look out for children who are born with cleft lip and palate, and then try to provide comprehensive care to them so that we can integrate them back into society for them to go back to school. So drilling down to Operation Smile Ghana is a subsidiary of that Operation Smile Incorporated, and we started work in Ghana since 2011. And we've been working with the ministry and then the Ghana Health Service to actually look out for the children who are born with cleft lip and palate, and to provide comprehensive care to them. And then that comprehensive care is also very free. The parents and families don't have to pay for anything, including even the transport that they have to take to come for treatment. So that is Operation Smile Ghana.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But Beauty, let me come to you. One may be watching and doesn't even know what we are talking about. Educators, what is cleft lip and palate? What is it?
So cleft lip and palate is a developmental anomaly. So it's in utero, you're born with it. It's what we call congenital. And it's not as a result of anything a mother does or the father had been through that would result in that. It's as a result of malformation, such that the different halves of the face in utero, whilst during pregnancy, comes together, and there's a defect in this coming together of the different half of the face, so that your soft and hard palate, there's a defect, there's a gap in there. Others would have the gap, you seeing it along the lip into the nostrils. Some will have both. That's where we say that you have both the lip and the palate, cleft lip and palate, yes.
Oh, wow. So it's not anything like when people say, oh, this is a river child in Sioba.
Not at all. So those are some of the myths that all the awareness is to demystify all of that. Yes.
Right. Okay, so for a child who has this condition, how does this affect the child's quality of life or their day-to-day activity from a normal child who has every normal feature that everybody should have?
So unfortunately, any child with a cleft lip or palate anomaly is disadvantaged right from pregnancy. Before they are born, they're already on a lower scale as compared to any child that is born. When you are born, nutrition is a key so that you can develop all your facets, including your brain development. Now they have difficulty feeding. There's difficulty latching to the breast, especially when you have the lip defect. And then with the palate, you have irregular incidents of you having respiratory tract infections, upper respiratory tract infection. And then when the mother is not taught how to feed such a child, then they have aspirations where we have feed going into your lungs. They end up in our ICUs. We lose some children. And then others, because of stigmatization, they will not even show up in hospital with this child. They hide them, deprive them of feeding, so that they're hoping this child would die. We have images and patients that we have cared for where one was a twin, and then you're starving one, hoping that would die. You're keeping away from the community, and everybody's asking, where's the other twin? Where's the other twin? Until we come into your community, we find out about this, and we give you hope that we can feed till we have the appropriate weight for surgery. And the care, as we're going to talk about, is beyond what we call comprehensive care. Is beyond surgical operation. in the beginning, we look at your nutrition. If you are not the appropriate weight and growth, we cannot have surgery. So we would look at that, feed, advise the mother, and then we'll see you regularly until you are the appropriate weight and age before surgery. Post-surgery, there's dental care. They have anomalies with their dentition. There's massive tooth decay. Sometimes we have to take some of the teeth out before we come in for the corrective surgery for the palate or lip altogether. Oh, wow. And then there's speech and language therapy. Now, the speech and language therapy, we start before surgery and after surgery. We actually go to the communities with our speech and language therapy van, where we have clinics close to their homes. They don't have to come all the way to the cities. And then we have psychological and emotional therapy for them. So we have psychologists as part of the team for our comprehensive care.
Right. Let me come back to you, Felicia. Are there any awareness creation with these conditions? Because, I mean, when somebody has a child with this condition, as I said earlier on, society calls them all sorts of names. There's the stigma, there's even the shame, even before the stigma, right from the hospital, when you see that, oh, this is the kind of child I gave birth to, people feel even ashamed to take the child into the community and all of that. How are we going to raise awareness to parents who have these conditions to accept their children and get treatment, most importantly?
Okay. So when it comes to awareness, the community health nurses and the midwives, they are our biggest source of awareness creation. So imagine a mother goes into labor and delivers a baby with cleft. So right there, the midwife is talking to the mother and assuring her that there is hope for treatment and would be able to do that referral to us. Aside that, the community health nurses within our communities to on their usual home-to-home visits, when they get to the house and they require to see any newborn child, at times they come across some of the unfortunate ones that are being hidden in their rooms, and they are able to refer to us. Aside that, we have a patient management team that comprises of patient coordinators and patient advocates. The advocate's work is to go into the communities, they go into churches, transport yard, and actually try to educate the general population about cleft. The fact that people have never even seen cleft in their lives. So at times people are like, these children are evil, and then they try to educate the communities to tell them that this is something that happens, because we know that cleft, the incidence of cleft is about 1 in every 700 births worldwide, but in sub-Saharan Africa we are doing about 1 in 1,200 births. So that means that if we have a monthly delivery in Ghana of about 12,000, then we have 10 children out of that who are born with cleft. And with the challenges that Beauty mentioned, that means that they are going to be having a lot of challenges, and people have never seen the condition because it's not recurring in families or communities, so it can happen to anyone. So our patient advocates actually go into the communities to try to educate, show pictures, because it's a new thing for people to try to show pictures of what a cleft lip is, what a cleft palate is, and what it looks like when you have treatment, so that can give hope to the mothers, that can give hope to the families, and then communities to own up when a child is born within the communities with cleft. So even when we do our normal programs, our surgical programs, our dental, nutrition, even we use social media to create awareness, to tell people that cleft is very much present with us. As long as we continue to deliver, we would have cleft children. Like Beauty said, it's not the doing of the mother, it's a congenital malformation, and so they are going to be with us. But when you find one, you can refer that child to Operation Smile, and then we'll work with the family to actually provide that total care for the child and integrate them back into the society.
All right, beautiful. Now, let me come back to you. At what age can a child living with this condition get treatment?
So for those who have the lip, we limit it to a minimum of 3 months. Sometimes when they come in and they are really underweight, because the nutrition is a big factor. If you're not feeding well, you're not going to gain weight. And if you're extremely underweight, so we use your growth charts. If you're, we say under -2 standard deviation. It's a chart we use for childhood development. We cannot have surgery. So then nutrition will focus on you and the next mission. So we see them we have about 4 missions per year around the country, Cape Coast, Koforidua, Kolebu, and Ho. And so when we see you, we know you're 3 months old, you should be eligible for surgery, but your weight defies that. We focus on your nutrition. The next time we are having a procedure, any of our programs, you would be first on our list to, if you're well, to have that. When it comes to the palate, so now if someone has the palate, you're not going to see it until the child tries to phonate. You realize they are very nasal. Right. They may not have the lip along with the palate. There are children who have the lip, you look in and you see the gap up the soft palate. That's the palate defect as well. So for those children, we do them after 9 months of age. For the lip only, it's usually after 3 months if you're well and of good weight.
Wow, beautiful. Felicia, before I let you go, how can people reach out to Operation Smile Ghana? Okay, so Operation Smile, we have all our social media handles, Operation Smile Ghana on Facebook, on X, on Instagram. You can reach us, our contact numbers are there. Aside that, we have other contact that we call the hotline that people can call in as when they have a child or they've seen a child with cleft. So one of the numbers is 0540 127 355. 0540 127 355. So if you call that number, you'll be received by the patient team who would actually follow up with the child and link up with the family to be able to sequence that child for treatment based on the child's needs. Beautiful. Thank you so much, ladies. And this has been a very insightful conversation. I'm sure the viewer or somebody watching out there has learned a thing or two, and then we will all together drive away the stigma that comes with these conditions. They are, I mean, it's not their fault. It's by no doing of this or their parents that they live with these conditions. And remember, it is treatable. So if you have a child or you know any child that is living with this condition, contact Operation Smile Ghana and let the child smile again.